What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well, having a good Friday. Yes, we reached the end of the week. We made it. We did it indeed. And Manchester United don't play this weekend, of course. We play on Monday once again, which means we can enjoy, we can rest, we can relax over the weekend. Or can we? Do you get your nerves? Do you get your anticipation? Do you get your, with the results the way they may go, the way they have gone in recent weeks, could Manchester United have another opportunity to climb up that table of the Premier League and find themselves in a stronger position? Maybe this time the Champions League positions. I know. I'm getting a bit too carried away. But speaking of getting carried away, Antoine Semenyo, should Manchester United try in January? Should Manchester United try and sign the Bournemouth winger? Of course, had a scintillating start to the season, as did Bournemouth. Maybe trailed off a little bit in recent weeks, just like the Cherries have. But is that because speculation continues to grow about his future? We know there's a release clause in January. We know there's an even smaller release clause in the summer if he doesn't move in January. Should United see the way the league is playing out this season and say, you know what, regardless of how good or bad we actually are, we've got an opportunity here. We've got an opportunity to actually achieve something that maybe we didn't think we were capable of achieving. Maybe we can actually finish in that top 4/top 5. Maybe we can be playing in the Champions League next season. Maybe Ruben Amorim can build something. Maybe he is building something. Maybe we just need more players to fit into that 3-4-3. Where would Semenyo fit? Well, maybe he could be put in to a wing-back position. Maybe he could be put into a number 10 position. But with other clubs possibly being interested and having the same thoughts, maybe they haven't started the season as well as they maybe thought they would have been. Liverpool, maybe they go after him. Maybe people like Manchester City or Arsenal go, we want to make sure we guarantee we win the title, and they go for him. Should Manchester United even be going for a Semenyo, or should they be going for someone else? Should they be going for a midfielder? This morning, there are crazy links linking us to a Sunderland midfielder. Could we even possibly get him? I ask you the question. Antoine Semenyo to Manchester United, deal or no deal? Let me know your thoughts about it, as always, in the comment section below, in the chat. Let me know your thoughts. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, to United View. If you are new, we are just over 50 subscribers away from 207,000. Let me know where you're watching from, what the weather and the time is where you are as well. I can see people in the chat. Javed says, hola. Hola, OWEN, excuse me. You know, a bit of Spanish, a bit of patois in there as well. I like it. Yes, I like it. I like it indeed. We need a midfielder, not Semenyo. Well, maybe. Why not both? Maybe. A bit dumb of a signing after just buying 3 attackers. Well, it's all about opinion, indeed. And I tell you what, in addition to opinion, it's all about health. Yeah, it's all about feeling good. It's all about well-being. It's all about being the best version of yourself that you can be. If only there was a supplement to assist you along the way. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Something beginning with O. The best things begin with O. This guy. I want to say Optimum. Optimum, anyone?
Today's video is sponsored by our friends at Oxford Natural and their all-new natural supplement, Optimum Day and Night. Thousands across the UK, USA and beyond are smashing their health goals with Oxford Natural. Optimum Day gives you steady energy, curbs your cravings and keeps your metabolism firing all day. Optimum Night helps you relax, get restorative sleep, recover and keep burning fat while you rest. It's not a magic pill, but it will help you reach your health goals. Check out some of the incredible results. 2 of our own. OWEN lost over 100 pounds in 10 months and KG dropped 30 pounds in 4 months. In 8 months, football legend Michael Owen lost 35 pounds and Robbie from AFTV, Don Robbie, lost over 80 pounds. And in 6 months, Anita, an award-winning immigration lawyer, lost 44 pounds. And Linda, a law firm executive, lost over 50 pounds. No gimmicks, no needles, just results. Oxford Natural, let's get to work.
Yes, let's get to work indeed. You can scan that QR code right there and you can subscribe and save up to 70% off. You can get your Optimum Day, insert shot of Flex doing all this. You know what I should actually do? I should just get, when I'm doing the solo in shows, I should just get the video of Flex doing that. You know what I mean? In case he's not here. So I should get that. But just imagine for now. Yeah, you can get your Optimum Day, boom, which is good for your weight loss goals. You can get your Optimum Night, kabam, for your restorative sleep. It's a brand new and improved formula. All the information, as always, is in the video description below. It's pinned in the chat as well. You can use our link. You can save yourself some money and you can start your fitness journey today, or you can prepare your fitness journey for the new year. You know, once we get into December, once we get into where we at, bloody hell, it's less than 2 weeks till Christmas, isn't it? Oh, blimey. Where's the Thierry Henry? Oh, blimey. You better have done your Christmas shopping already. I have. But once you get into this stage of the year, it gets into very much of that's a January thing. A bit like Manchester United in the transfer market. Your fitness goals, your resolutions become a January thing, don't they? Well, that's for next year. That's for future me's problems. Well, not problems. That's future me's goals. I'm going to enjoy myself to the end of the year, but then next year, that's what I'm going to go for. Well, just because you're going to start it next year doesn't mean you can't start prepping for the new year now. We say about Manchester United, don't we? We say, hey, you don't want to just suddenly get into the new year and then start your transfer business. Are you doing the work throughout the year? Are you prepping? Are you getting ready? Are you getting your strategies in place? Are you getting your plans in place? Well, you can too. You can get optimized maybe later on, but you can get yourself ready. All the information is always in the video description below. And you can get optimized today, yeah? Optimized. We've got a lot to talk about this morning. We're going to be talking about Antoine Semenyo, and whether or not that's a real thing or not. Andy Mitten's had some interesting things to say about that. We'll also chat about are there going to be any signings in the winter transfer window? Is that even going to be an actual thing for us? We'll talk about that and what we maybe need. And just before I went live too, I saw that Paul Scholes had some interesting things to say about Ruben Amorim on his podcast. And I'm going to take a bit of a risk with that part. Yeah, I'm going to play the clip. I mean, sometimes, you play the clip, you're going to get, is it going to be say, well, you can't do that, you get flagged, all that kind of stuff? Let's take a risk this morning. Yeah, it's Friday, folks. Let's take a risk and see what happens. Yeah, let's see what happens. We've also got coming up later today, the Trinity, 4 p.m. Whether or not Flex will be there, I don't know. He's a bit under the weather over the last few days, but hopefully he will be there. And I will just say, yeah, and I'll only do this, right? For those that are here at the moment and watching after the fact, you'll know what's maybe going to come. But let's just say that I've been rather busy over the last couple of days, and I may or may not have some surprises for the Trinity later on today. And I'm very excited about revealing said surprises. I think they are, I will toot my own horn. I think they're a bit brilliant. I think they're a bit brilliant. I think they're a bit exciting. I think they're funny. And I can't get them out of my head. That's not a reference, by the way. We've not got Kylie Minogue on the show. Anything like that. But, yeah. But I'll only do it if they're both there. If they're both there, then I'll do it. If not, we'll have to wait until next week. But, yeah. Very, very, very exciting. You might want to tune in at 4 p.m. It's not the WWE bout. No, I would. I mean, Kristen, we live in hope. One day, I could get it for myself. That I could just bite the bullet and I could get that for myself. But at this point, I think it's a case of principle. I think it's a principle thing. I think that there's twofold, isn't it? One is I don't feel almost comfortable carrying a Manchester United Championship belt on my shoulder when after last season, like I was saying yesterday, you need to earn it when it comes to backing in the transfer window. I feel like Manchester United need to do something, big. Manchester United need to do something big, and then we will have all earned it. So that's one part. And two, I still want to expense it. So Flex is it's on Flex. Yeah, it's on Flex. Flex has got to get it. So it's not the WWE bout. Maybe one day. Knowing my luck, by the time the decision is made, or by the time Manchester United do something worthy of getting the belt, the line will be, the deal will be gone. They no longer, they don't have the deal with Manchester United anymore. It'll be a whole thing. But that's future owns problems. But it's not that. No, it's not that indeed. Yes. Right. Let's talk about Antoine Semenyo and some other bits and pieces. This came from Andy Mitten. of course, is a bit of an insider when it comes to Manchester United. He knows his stuff. United we stand. He's there. He's got his people there every match day outside Old Trafford, in the wind, in the rain, in the sunshine, in the snow, selling the United we stand fanzines. And he was talking about Semenyo on the Talk of the Devils podcast with The Athletic. And he said, I think United would absolutely sign him and retrofit him. And as soon as I heard that, I went, oof, we're retrofitting players again. Oof. As you say, as a wing back, oof. They were very interested in him last summer, but the deal timed out on him. Bournemouth were adamant. They wanted £70 million for him, and several clubs were interested in him, but none of them would meet that price, which, now knowing what we do know when it comes to his release clause, you can understand why. You know, a lot of clubs would look at him. If Bournemouth went to him, we want 70 million, and then clubs knew, well, in January we can get him for, what is it? Is it 65? Is it 65 in January? I think it is. And then in the summer, it's less than that. It's just above, was it 50, 55, something like that? So, of course, these clubs, when they were quoted 70, were like, well, we'll just wait 6 months then and get him for less. He started this season very well. He's dropped off a little bit. But if you ask Manchester United today, would you like to sign Semeno? The answer would be an emphatic, absolute yes. That doesn't mean he's signing. He's got a buyout clause. And I know there are people who highly rate him and think he would improve this Manchester United team. There'd be a feeling that those around him improve, all those connections around him improve, and that's the idealized situation. Now, there's quite a bit to break down there, actually, isn't there? There's quite a bit to break down in that one, because this kind of extends on the discussion about, you know, the system and 3-4-3 and the purchasing of players. Is Antoine Semenyo. Let's look at this as just a bit of a case study. I suppose. You've got Antoine Semenyo, who's had, you know, a very good season so far for Bournemouth. In addition, it's not like he just has hit fire this season as well. He played very well for Bournemouth last season, didn't he too? So you've got someone there who's a very good player and a very exciting player, but he's playing on the left wing? Is it left wing for Bournemouth? And immediately you're bringing him into to Manchester United, and we're going, right, well, if you're going to play on the wing for us, you're going to have to take a few steps back in terms of the pitch, because you're going to be in a left wing back position. And you go, once again, we're buying players, we're shoehorning them in, we're retrofitting them. Other teams do it, but okay. And it does make you wonder, because we were interested in him in the summer. Andy Mitten that's absolutely true. What Andy Mitten has said, that we absolutely were interested in him in the summer. There were those stories, weren't there, around the time that we were going after Cunha and Mbeumo and what have you, that we were interested in him, but we were priced out, as Andy Mitten says, that sort of £70 million. We weren't going to spend £70 million on him, so we backed out. I would love to know, what was the plan, positionally, for him in the summer if we did get him? Would he have been, let's say in an ideal world, we did, let's go into the hypothetical world, right? We live in it anyway, ifs, buts, right? If this happened. Had we got him, what position do we think was envisaged for him? Was it that he was going to come in and be one of those 10s? Or was it that he was going to be a wing back? Was he going to be, a wing back in this Manchester United team? Were we going to have a situation where in the right wing back position, we were going to have Ahmad, and on the left wing back position, we were going to have Antoine Semenyo? That sounds exciting, doesn't it? I mean, when the team when the team sheet comes out and we have our regular meltdown, myself included, every single week, seeing Ahmad and Semenyo there, you go, oh, that's exciting. You've got attacking players there, and okay, you've got Mbeumo in the 10, and whether it is Cunha, whether it's Mason Mount, all right, and Benjamin Šeško, yeah, okay. There's maybe a few concerns defensively about that. I mean, we're conceding more than a goal a game as it is at this point in time. What would that look like with another attacking winger at wing back? Would he be able to do the defensive work? Would it matter? Because we would be dominating games so much, and we'd be so on the front foot from an attacking perspective. Would it even matter about that? I don't know. So I don't know if the idea when we were going after him in the first place was that he would be a wing back. This is just guesswork. But I almost feel like that the idea for him probably would have been to be one of those 10s, maybe a left 10 or something like that. And now it feels like the pursuit. I know Andy Mitten said, "Oh, if you asked them today, would they sign Antoine Semenyo?" And it'd be an absolute yes. You could say that about a lot of players, couldn't you? If you ask Manchester United today, would they sign Kylian Mbappe? It'd be an absolute yes. If you ask Manchester United today, would they sign Harry Kane? It'd be an absolute yes. So that kind of scenario, it doesn't really hold much water with me, to be honest with you. Of like, if you offered Manchester United player X, you can sign player X today. Would you sign him? It's an absolute yes. Of course. If that Manchester United were told they could sign Semenyo tomorrow, and they had the financial capabilities to do it, and and they had the PSR capabilities to do it, and they had the they didn't have other positions that were maybe more priority positions over Antoine Semenyo, then of course they would say yes. That's kind of my point. It's not to say, and this is like that meme on Twitter, isn't it? I like pancakes, so you say you hate waffles, because I've said Kylian Mbappe there, Harry Kane. So you're saying Antoine Semenyo's Kylian Mbappe and Harry Kane. It's exactly what I'm saying. No, no, that's not what I'm saying. So I ultimately, I don't think we get him, by the way. I don't think we get him. Certainly not in January. Maybe in the summer, something happens. But I don't think we get him in January, because even 65 million, I just don't envisage us spending 65 million on a player in January. I think if we get someone, it's probably ended up going to be that sort of loan, isn't it? It's going to end up being that loan. Maybe like a Patrick Dorgu price like last year. What was that? 25 million, in and around that figure, if we did. Obviously the financials came out yesterday, didn't they? And every single time the financials come out, you just kind of get more depressed, because the debt just gets higher and higher and higher. It's at the highest it's ever been, which again feels like a regular thing, doesn't it? And shocker of all shockers, that initial debt that the Glazers placed on Manchester United, was it now over 2 decades ago, still hasn't been touched. Macaulay Culkin face in Home Alone, Christmas movie. Yeah. So Manchester United is a walking contradiction in that case, because from a PSR perspective, there have been things that have been done, and there are things that are being attempted to be done to improve our financial footing from a PSR perspective. And we actually find ourselves, from a PSR perspective, actually in a pretty decent position in comparison to other teams in the league. But then from a wider financial perspective, it is still a complete and total shit show, a complete and total mess. And that isn't going to change until the Glazers are gone, whenever that day may come. Whether that's Ineos, whether that's someone else, who knows? So, and that's also, I suppose, a bit why when you do hear these stories of redundancies and cost cutting here and there, that is where the frustration also comes from, when it's like, okay, we're scrapping, lunches for certain workers on a match day. And then you go, but you've got all of this debt that the majority owners have burdened the club with, and you're not touching. But I can't have a meal on a match day. That seems about right, doesn't it? So those are the wider financial issues, aren't they? Indeed. But from a PSR perspective, again, I think we're in a fairly good position. But in terms of January, will that affect us that much in January? I think if an opportunity comes up, but I think I'm bracing myself for I'm bracing myself for a January that will see other clubs making signings, other clubs going after players that we're linked with. I say that linked with, maybe we're not even that much linked with them, but one day we are, and then the next day they end up going to another Premier League club or another European club, and then that turns into, why didn't Manchester United go after that player that we weren't going to buy anyway? But I think that's what's probably the January situation is going to be. By the way, chat and the mods, that Baba Flossie guy who's just said that, time him out or hide him from the channel. That's not tolerated on here. It's not a joke. I'm not having that at all. If someone is not going to do it, then I'll do it. There you go. Gone. Ridiculous. This is not the community for that. If you want to do that, go somewhere else. It's not going to be tolerated here. So yes, when it comes to Semenyo, I get what Andy Mitten is saying there with it, but this morning we see stuff with Mo Salah once again, and Liverpool and Arne Slot talking about what his future is going to look like. One would think if that doesn't end up going the way of Mo Salah and he doesn't end up staying at the club and he ends up going or what have you, then you would think Liverpool might go for him. A lot of clubs might go for him. Chelsea, when it comes to wingers, you would think they've probably got enough, but it feels like they never they never have enough wide players or have enough wingers. And you wouldn't even be shocked if players that Chelsea signed in the summer transfer window end up getting sold in the January window to make room for another winger to come in. So yeah, I don't think I don't think we end up getting Semenyo. I think it's one of those ones where it's almost a bit like a Football Manager signing or a FIFA signing. On paper, you see this like Ahmed, Semenyo, wing back, Mbeumo, Cunha, Šeško. That looks great. In reality, you go, all right, how would that work? Would that actually be balanced? Would Antoine Semenyo even want to go from playing left wing to wing back? That's the issue we're going to have, I suppose, in general, isn't it? That's the issue we're going to have in general of if we are going for wingers that we're going to convert into wing backs, we're going to have to sell them on that project of going, well, in our team, in our system, we don't have your wingers, so we really want you to be doing a little bit more defensively as well. Are you up for that? Are you, are you interested in that? Are you up for that? I'm not, kind of thing. So I don't know if that one happens, to be honest with you. A little bit more of some transfer bits and pieces here. This morning, again, another one, I don't know how much I believe it. Sasha Tavalieri saying that Manchester United are interested in Sunderland midfielder Noah Siddiqui, having contacted the player's entourage at the start of the season. Chelsea are also in the race, having reached out to Sunderland to inquire about the asking price. Of course, Siddiqui is a 20-year-old DR Congo midfielder. He plays sort of defensive midfield for Sunderland, I think. Once again, I'll believe that one when I see it. It would fit, I suppose, in kind of the in the profile of players that Manchester United are looking at, whereby it's a young player, sort of 20 years old, kind of into the in the Ineos mold. We need a midfielder, certainly. So you go, okay, there could be something in that one too, maybe, but certainly nothing in this season. Sunderland are doing very well in the Premier League this year. Certainly something that nobody, I think, saw coming, considering that they came up in the playoffs, had a massive overhaul of players, and then they find themselves. It's mad, isn't it? Because they currently find themselves 9th, which for them still is a fantastic season. If they ended up finishing 9th, that would be a spectacular season for Sunderland. But just what was it, like a week ago or a couple of weeks, because they lost their last game, and the game before that they drew. So they've got 1 point. But I think a couple of weeks ago, weren't they like 3rd or 4th in the Premier League? Something along those lines. It is mad, isn't it? Let's be honest, with the Prem. And this is why I think with us this season and with Ruben Amorim, this is why I kind of push back on the question that Flex asked me the other day. When Flex, and I think Flex and KG had the debate on the Flex and KG show about progress. And my answer at the time was, I think once you go down this route of have United made progress from last season or are United progressing, then you get stuck in the semantics of what does the word progress mean, right? What does the word progress actually mean? And I think Flex said that KG even got the definition of progress up, because that's really the crux of the argument. The crux of the argument really is, what does the word progress mean, as opposed to what does have Manchester United progressed? And my response was at the time that I don't think, in my mind, that can actually be answered at the moment. I don't think so, because the league, as of right now, in terms of where you are in it, is so volatile. The position which you occupy is so volatile from week to week to week that I don't know if you can fully judge it at this point, because effectively, whether or not Manchester United have progressed is dependent on the match week, because going into the game against Wolves, we were 12th. We were 12th, and if the season ended that day, you'd go, well, absolutely not. That's, yes, we're up 3 positions from last season, but we're bottom half. How is that progress? Look at some of our recent results against West Ham and Everton. That's not progress at all. We win the game against Wolves, suddenly we're up to 6th. And then if the season ended today, you'd be like, yeah, that's progress. We're in a European competition. We're much higher than we were last season. That's progress. That's real progress. So I don't think the answer of have Manchester United have legitimately progressed. I know there are individual metrics and individual stats, i.e. XG, goals scored, goals against, shots taken, shots faced. Everyone will have their different metric on that. But for me, progress is the real things, not expected, because we're doing expected progress. What's it? Expected progress. XP. What's our XP? It's, for me, it's the real stuff that matters. So where are we in the table? Where did we finish this season? How many points have we got on the board? That's really what matters. Because once you start getting into let's say we finished 11th this season, but we've scored more goals than we did last season. Are we going to give a shit? No, we're not going to give a shit about that. Or we finish 10th, but we conceded less goals than we did last season. So that's progress. You're going to be like, well, come on. Now, what are we doing here? So for me, it's about those real important things. Yeah, the stuff that really matters, the stuff that people remember, the stuff that people actually can recall in a few years' time. In 3 or 4 years' time, do you think we're going to be talking about how many goals we scored or how many goals we conceded? Or do you think they're going to be talking about where we finished in the league? Now, when we're talking about last season, what's the number that keeps coming up over and over again? 15th. We're not talking about, but actually that season we scored X. I don't even know how many goals we scored last season. I don't even know how many goals we conceded last season. I just know that we finished 15th. 15th. Yeah. So that's why I think I'm not sure there can be a definitive answer, because I think progress is entirely subjective as well. Everyone's got their own definition of it. Everyone's got their own different standards of what they perceive to be progress. So there's no definitive answer. It's just a bit of a debate, isn't it? It's just a bit of a debate. For me, I think progress can be definitively judged at the end of the season. But certainly not at the moment, whereby dependent on the game and the result, you can go from being in a European spot to being in the bottom half. That is too volatile, too volatile for that kind of judgment at that period of time. As I've sort of said since the beginning of the season, for right now in December, and frankly for the majority of the season until we get to the end of it, I just want to be in and around those European spots, in that conversation, either touching it or defending it, and then that's where we need to be, because then you can get over the finish line at the end. That's it. That's it for me. And again, I know people will have more nuance about that, but yeah. So I think I don't really, because as we've seen in this league, anything's possible. It really is, isn't it? I mean, you've got the only thing that doesn't seem possible is Wolves actually winning a game. Aside from that, it's I don't know. I mean, we've got Bournemouth on Monday. Knowing us this season, if I had to make a bit of a prediction as to where this will go, so we've got Bournemouth next, and then we've got Villa and Newcastle. They're all tough games. They're all difficult games. Bournemouth at home, our recent record against Bournemouth at home is not good. I know Bournemouth recently haven't had the best form. Like I said, they've dipped quite a bit. They're winless in their last 5. 3 of them have been losses. So they're not as good as they were earlier on. But that doesn't mean anything for us. Next up, then after that, you've got Villa, which actually we've got a fairly decent recent record at Villa Park, but still they're banging form at the moment, aren't they? 3rd in the league, 5 wins out of 5 in the Prem. They are flying at the moment, absolutely flying. Then you've got Newcastle, who our recent record against them is shit. There's a real possibility we could come out of those 3 games and then we'll be completely in crisis again. You know what I mean? Completely in crisis. Oh my God, oh fuck, what are we going to do? Ruben needs to go, blah, 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 blah. Then after that, we've got Wolves again, which, as we've just seen, they're terrible. So you should win that game. Leeds away, which is a difficult one. They've got a bit better form recently. When I say a bit better form, they've win and a draw, but they've still struggled this season. They'll be fighting to stay up. And then you've got Burnley, who are better than Wolves, but not a lot better than them, but they're better. So then you go, well, that could be a few wins in a row, right? That could be a few wins in a row. So by that point, we might be back up the table, and then it's like, actually, it's not that bad again. That's probably just going to be us this season, really, isn't it? I think. Z says, man always goes to the negative first, LOL. I was just doing the fixtures, Mo. I was just doing the fixtures, man. That's what it was. I was just literally saying the fixtures in consecutive order. It's not negative. It's just literally how they could go. And actually, it could be entirely different for United, as we've seen. Recently, the games that we've been expected to win, sometimes we haven't won. And then the games we're not expected to win, we actually do win those ones, right? So the point is, who knows? Who knows? But going back to that progress thing, that's why I say I don't think you can judge it at the moment, because there could be a stretch in those games where we're back in the bottom half. And then at the end of it, we could find ourselves in a European spot again. And then suddenly it's like, oh, it's too volatile at the moment. Everything. Ray Carl with the super chat says, for me, it's where you finish right now. This time last season, we was in the dumpster playing diabolical football, little improvements. Let's see. That's where I'm kind of at the moment. I'm not sure, Ray, I have the energy. I don't know if you're the same. I don't know if I have the energy just to be up and down. Every single week, every single half of football is tough. But I don't know. Super Arch says, overall gameplay, the fan complaints from last year to this year, goals, opponents' chances at goal. We can see some progress. Baby steps is progress. Z says, you said they're hard fixtures. They aren't, apart from Villa. Newcastle are shocking away from home. I would say, Z, be very careful with your words there. Be very careful with your words, because we aren't in the position to say any game, and it's been proven, maybe apart from Wolves, there are no easy fixtures, okay? There aren't. Everton against 10 Men at Home was easy. West Ham was easy. We didn't win any of those games. So let's actually be a little bit humble here. Let's actually not be arrogant enough to assume we can beat anyone, right? Because it's been proven that we've got no divine right. We can't criticize the players for going, look at them strolling around on the pitch thinking they can just walk all over these teams. You've got to show something. You've got to fight. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. And then us going into the games been like, well, look, easy games. They're all easy games. Newcastle at home, that's an easy game. Well, it hasn't been for us. It hasn't. Bournemouth at home, we haven't beat Bournemouth at home in ages. It's not an easy game for us. There isn't such thing as an easy game in the Premier League. Maybe Wolves, but there isn't. There isn't. So we need to get our head out of our asses, basically, of going, well, this is an easy one. We should be doing that, right? Maybe you can do again. Those teams that are even those teams in the bottom three, I'm a bit wrong for that, to be honest, by going Burnley away, should be getting the 3 points. Who fucking knows? You know, who knows, right? Bournemouth, isn't it the last 2 seasons? They beat us 3-0 at home. 3-0 at home twice. And we're still, after that, going, easy fixture. Easy. We'll roll all over them. Easy, no problem. And Bournemouth were a mid-table team last year as well. Come on. West Ham, they're shit. We still drew of them 1-1 at home. So you've got no divine right to be going into those games going easy. No problem at all. Easy. No. And maybe that's where that disconnect comes from of the, and as we've just seen, these teams, even those sort of bad teams, they've still struggled against those smaller teams as well. So we don't have the divine right to go into those fixtures and be like, they're easy. Not at all. No way do we have that right. Not in the slightest. We have to learn our lesson when it comes to that. They're going to be tough. My goodness me. We went in to the game against Wolves on Monday, and there was this sort of feeling in the pit of our stomach, wasn't there? Going, Wolves, they're rubbish, but you never know. So it's not even necessarily about the other teams in the Premier League. They can do whatever they can do on their day, but it's also, where is this expectation of consistency coming from Manchester United as well? We have shown it this season that we don't know what we're going to do. Ruben Amorim has said that he doesn't know what our team is going to do. Look at our form. Last 5 games, draw, loss, win, draw, win. That is a complete mixed bag. That is the definition of inconsistent, isn't it? Every single outcome across the board. There's no pattern there. There is no pattern to those last 5 games. Really, is there? Anything can happen. So we definitely do not have the right at the moment to be going into these fixtures like against Bournemouth, Newcastle at home, Aston Villa away, and being like, well, apart from Villa, they're all easy. Remember that the media tried it on us, and we kind of fell for it. I fell for it. Of the next 5 fixtures, Manchester United have the easiest fixtures in the Prem. Easiest fixtures. Remember that? Top of the table. According to Opta and all of those statistics, we've got the easiest 5 fixtures coming up. And in that 5 fixtures, we got a complete mixed bag, because that's what we will do for the rest of the season. Have a mixed bag, right? There'll be no pattern there, because, and again, that's why I think judging the progress is going to be difficult, because when you look for progress, you look for, positive trends, or you look for positive patterns. And when there aren't really any patterns to pick from, it's all just a jumbledness of mess. You go, well, I don't know. I can't really pick from that. So yeah, that's what it is. Z says, I know what happened against West Ham. That's a low block team. Bournemouth are going to press high with a high line. I have my reasons for a win. By the way, I'm not saying that you can't believe that. If you believe Man United is going to win that game, I don't not believe that Man United can't win that game. My response is, I don't know. And what you also said was that it's an easy fixture. That's my point of contention. I didn't say Man United can't win, and I certainly don't say that you're wrong for thinking Manchester United can win. I think Man United can win that game. Man United can win any game in the Premier League. They can also lose any game in the Premier League. They can also draw any game in the Premier League. What you said is it's an easy fixture, and that's not true. It is not an easy fixture, because there's no such thing in the Premier League. Yeah? You said an easy fixture, and you say, I didn't say easy. Don't put words in my mouth. Do I really have to scroll up? Do I really have to scroll up? I mean, I'm petty enough to do it. You know what I mean? I'm petty enough to do it. You said they're hard fixtures. They aren't, apart from Villa. Newcastle are shocking away from home. If you're going to play semantics and say, I didn't say easy, they aren't. They aren't hard. Well, if it's not hard, what is it? I'll wait. I'll wait. Yeah, get out of here. Come on. Get out of here. Yeah. Yeah. This is what I knew. This is what I knew. Me saying they aren't hard doesn't necessarily mean they're easy. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. When it's that, once you start doing that, going, I didn't say easy. I didn't necessarily say easy. Get out of here. 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 It's now you're playing semantics. When you start doing semantic stuff, no. Can't. No. That's back into that one, isn't it? Wow, I didn't actually say that. I said they weren't hard. Come on. As Lil Yo says, what a waste of time. Nothing wrong with positivity. Nothing wrong with that. Not true. Nothing wrong with positivity. No issue with that. Yeah, but come on. What we doing here? I do want to see this Paul Scholes thing, by the way. And as Savage says there, we want to see United win. Absolutely. I just this is where we won't learn our lesson. We don't learn our lessons as Man United fans. We'll go and go. This should be not hard, and then the game will naturally be hard, and we'll go, why is it hard? It'll be like, oh, we don't learn our lessons. I do want to see, read this or listen to this Paul Scholes thing. This is on their podcast, by the way. And again, I don't know whether this will be jinxed or not, but we'll see. We'll see. All right. This is what he said about Ruben Amorim. Make sure this plays. Here we go.
I don't think this manager just gets this club full stop. Yeah. I just don't think he's the right man. Man United is about risk and entertainment more than anything.
At home, especially.
Having fans on the edge of the seat, fucking ready to go. Wingers who beat people, shots on goal, bits of skill. There's nothing there. That's from the club. We talk about this as a different club. They've got Omar Barada, they've got Jason Wilcox, who are probably brilliant at the job, brilliant at what they do. They're not Man United. They don't have a clue what it's like to buy a Manchester United player, to bring a Manchester United manager in. If you go to Sporting Lisbon and watch, they play 3 at the back right away. That's no. Man United never do that.
I mean, it's pretty fucking severe, isn't it? Jeez, he's going in. He is going in.
Can't do that. They just can't. It's been proven over years and years and years. And I'm talking even before Sir Alex Ferguson. It was always about 4-4-1-1 or 4-4-2.
Yeah.
Entertaining people. He hasn't got that in him. He brought 4 defenders on against West Ham. If we go 1-0 up, the manager always said 2, 3, 4. I remember once, I think we were playing Chelsea. We went 1-0 up and we sat back a little bit. Now, Chelsea were a good team. The manager went absolutely nuts after the game. That doesn't happen here. When you score 1, you go for 2. You go for the throat every single time. I just don't think he gets it.
To be honest, I can't argue with that. I've agreed with nearly everything he said there. You can't argue with that, can you? You can't. How can you argue with that? Now, maybe the stuff where he's saying, I don't think this manager gets this club full stop. Maybe that's a bit too severe. And it's when you get into the stuff of, it's not the same Manchester United, fair. But I totally agree with what he's saying there about the, we saw it against, West Ham, kind of he's settling, going 1-0 up, and then get at home, right, let's settle, let's go. Go get a win. Go get 2, 3, 4. Not just because that's the Manchester United way or what have you, but also because, like, you surely your players. We can't hold on to a 1-0 lead. That was my frustration in that game as well, of when we go and try and see those games out. We know we're going to concede a goal. So you need to get 2, 3, 4 goals, as was proven against Brighton, where we had 3 goals, and even that was nearly a collapse. And then someone argued the definition of nearly a collapse would be the other day. He goes in on Omar Barada and Jason Wilcox there as well. It's harsh stuff, isn't it? It's harsh stuff. And I get, I see Hungriest Alpaca there is saying this is different. The oppositions are of different levels. I get it, but that's not really what he's sort of pointing out there, is it? I think his point is, well, like he mentions it, like the West Ham game, because that's the big one, isn't it? I mean, you know, I'm talking about showing respect for the level of opposition going, then, you know, they're not going to be not hard fixtures. But at the same time, again, if you're at home and you are Manchester United, you know, you need to be attacking. You need to be showing a bit of something. And also, you can't be shutting up shop against West Ham at home and then end up drawing the game. You can't. You just you can't. You can't do that. And you know, obviously, it's not totally on. You know, he's focusing on Ruben Amorim there, and Omar Barada and Jason Wilcox. And obviously the players come into that as well. It's not the Twitter principle where just because you're talking about Amorim or Barada or Wilcox, it does not mean you're giving complete, you know, it's not the player's fault. You know, you're just completely absolving the players from any blame. Everyone's got some kind of blame. So before people even start saying that, going, what about the players? The whataboutism? What about the players? No, it's like, yes, okay. But they've got to... this is literally, these things I can predict. I swear at this point, I swear I can predict. It's not on the players. Yes, of course it is on the players as well. Yes. Yes. But when you're talking about one thing, doesn't necessarily mean you're saying it's not about the other thing. It's just saying that as a Manchester United manager, you know, you've got to understand your players as well. And you've got to know your players and you've got to learn from your mistakes. And you've got to go, right, we leak goals, we concede goals, we need more than a 1-0. Right, let me make sure that I'm not just shutting up shop at home. Actually, the best form of defense is attack for us, right? Maybe that's what it's got to be. So, yes. And then that's the next argument also as well, isn't it? Do you know what? Honestly, I mentioned this on Monday. The excuses or the debate points. I genuinely get why people are tired. I really do. I really do understand why people are tired because I'm tired too. Because it is the same debate over and over again. And it's the same responses, isn't it? If you try and have a discussion, it becomes, what about the players? And then when you talk about Amorim, then it becomes, okay, Owen, who would you replace him with? And it's the same. It's the same. And it is like just banging your head into the wall. That is why I've said, like, I'll wait till the end of the season. I will. Because if you like, Paul Scholes with those, you know what I mean? So like Scholes here with this thing, he's talking about Amorim and he's talking about that. Then right, who'd you replace him with them? Who'd you go and get? Like, it's always the same. Like Lilio, it's so true. Like the script is boring. It is. It really is. Because it becomes the pushback becomes the same pushback, you know, then it becomes, so you're saying the players have got no responsibility. Of course they do. They're Manchester United players. You put on the Manchester United shirt and the whistle goes, you have an element of responsibility. Of course. And if they're missing chances and they're missing open goals, of course they should be criticised. And if you think that, wow, that's not fair for someone to lose their job over that, those are the bricks. That's how it goes. It's unfortunate. And maybe it isn't fair, but that's how it goes. Because at what point does accountability stop? Because I was thinking about this yesterday, actually. I was thinking about this yesterday. Because I think I had the discussion or the debate with someone on here, on this show, about someone was saying, oh, it's not fair for managers to lose. I'm paraphrasing here, but they were like, it's not fair for managers to lose their jobs over, you know, refereeing decisions or missed chances or this, that, and the other. And I was doing my stuff yesterday. I was around the house. And then I thought to myself, how many managers against Manchester United throughout the 90s and 2000s ended up losing their jobs based off what they would go, I tell you what, when we played Man United, we had some bad refereeing decisions against us, or we had some chances against Manchester United, against Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United, but their goalkeeper made a save or they missed a big chance and we could have won that Premier League or we could have won that Champions League, but but those players miss the chances. How many managers ended up losing their jobs based off that? You don't think about that. You don't hear about that because guess what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There are so many managers throughout history. There are probably the annals of football history is littered with them of people that will probably feel hard done by or feel like they actually played better than Manchester United. Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United in key matches, key moments, but Man United or Sir Alex Ferguson got the rub of the green and they ended up losing their job because of that or because later on at some point. That's just kind of how it goes. That's just kind of how it works. So we can't now flip the script and suddenly go, well, when it happens to us, that's unfair. No, that's just how it works. That's a reality check. That's the way the game goes. When you become a manager, you sign up knowing these are the rules. These are the rules of the game. You can't sign up knowing that these are the rules and then suddenly go, actually, I don't like these rules because, you know what? It's not really fair on me. That's just that's how football works. That's how football operates. If you think it's fair or it's not fair, that's largely irrelevant, to be honest with you. It's just how it goes. I mentioned Avram Grant, yeah? He was a John Terry slip away from Chelsea winning the Champions League in 2008, and he wasn't there much longer after that. How often do you think he probably thinks about that? How often do you think he probably thinks about, fuck, no, I could have had Chelsea's first Champions League in 2008, and then I'd be a hero and this, that, and the other. But it didn't happen, and it doesn't matter. And he ended up losing his job. And then people don't talk about Avram Grant nowadays, do they? You know, and thank you for when he finished second in the league as well with Chelsea. Doesn't matter. No one talks about him. Yeah, because guess what? He didn't win. He didn't win, and he didn't get over the line. And he might think of that, well, that's not fair for me to be judged on that. That's not fair for this to happen. That's not fair, this, that, and the other. That's how it goes. That's the way football works. That's the game you sign up for. That's the job you sign up for as well. So we can talk till the cows come home about being lucky, unlucky, refereeing decisions, offsides, onside, VAR, players not doing their jobs, players not putting the ball in the back of the net, players letting the manager down and this, that, and the other. But that is what you sign up for. That is it. That's what you sign up for it. You know, it's just how it goes. And it's not to say that those players don't have a responsibility to perform and they don't, and they just suddenly, if they do miss that chance and go, oh, it's not on me. Of course it's on them. Of course. But hey, I mentioned about John Terry slipping for that penalty. John Terry stuck around at Chelsea for a long time after that. You know, the manager didn't. That's the way it goes, unfortunately. Here's the other one. Life ain't fair. You know, life ain't fair. You just got to get on with it, and you got to try and make it so that you know, it's unfair for someone else, and it's not fair for you, and it's you know, and you come out on the right side of it. That's it. You know, that's how it goes. All Elite with the super chat says, Saturday night's main event tomorrow. Yes, I will be live. We'll watch on a post show. Try not to cry because John Cena, we won't see him anymore. He'll be gone. You know, God, it's going to be emotional. But yes, I will be there. I will be there. Manish says, I don't know. Noticing something is unfair would be more of a reason not to repeat it. You don't go, K, Sarah. I disagree. Because like I said, sometimes, you know, a lot of the time football isn't fair. You know, it's just how it goes. You know, sometimes you do have to say, K, Sarah. What will be, will be. You know, you genuinely do. You know, as Kristen says there, if Steven Gerrard scores a penalty, Roy Hodgson, he would have kept his job longer, but he didn't. You know, it's just how it goes. You know, it's just how it goes. So it might be fair, it might be unfair. Players might, you know, screw you over. Players might miss chances, and games are defined in little moments. But yeah, man, literally, shit happens sometimes. It's just how it goes. That's right, Asher. Exactly. Anyway, guys, yeah, exactly. If Gerrard didn't slip, then Baba doesn't score, then maybe Liverpool win the league, and Brendan Rodgers maybe still at Liverpool, and then Jurgen Klopp maybe doesn't come in and he goes to somewhere else and he doesn't have that success, like literally. But he did slip and he didn't win the league. You know, that's what matters. Isn't that right, Asher? Yes, I know. We're talking too much about hypotheticals again. It does rile her up. Anyway, guys, have a good Friday. Hopefully we'll be back with the Trinity later on, 4 p.m. with maybe some interesting surprises. Bit of a tease. Anyway, have a good one. I'm out of here. Peace.